Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Let's take a look here. Current blood sugar is 9. It's a sensor change day, so my calibration is off. It's not off, but it won't show a complete circle until probably bedtime tonight. Okay, if we take a look at these 3 lines, it will tell you everything's in working order. 7 days of sensor life, so that's pretty good. Okay, cross out the X. Now, that's what my morning's been like. I went up to, I think it was 18. Let's go. 18.5. From 3.3 to 18.5. Because I had glucagon. I came down, and now I'm hovering down around 9. You can take a look at it this way, or you can just do it with your fingers and it gets pulled out. I don't know if that's the program or just the iPhone I'm on. Time and range, 89%. We're down from 100. But, don't take that so bad. It's just telling you how your body is performing to what you're doing. 9% above, well, that goes with the heading up to 18. 2% below, well, because I got down to 3.3, so it registered. Time and range is 89%. Now, average sugar in blood in millimoles per liter is 8.1. Today I want to talk to you about special accommodations. So let's get on to it. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. So, why are diabetics considered to have special accommodations? When I went to school in my day, there wasn't anything like special accommodation. I made it through school with no special accommodations. Well, maybe a little in my senior years. But do we really need special accommodations for type 1 diabetes? Well, the answer to that question is yes. Because I didn't have it, I can appreciate where diabetics come from. I don't know how many tests I wrote when I had a high blood sugar or a low blood sugar. Especially, there was one test in grade 8 where I just had to sit there and try to get through a test. And, I really tried to do the test. I totally bombed the test. And it was wasn't the final, it was sort of like the half final. We were on a semester, so it was 4 weeks, and then you had a midterm, and then you had something like that. I bombed, and the teacher looked at it and said, "This isn't like you." And I said, "Well, I was really feeling kind of low." And he said, "Well, maybe you need to see a psychologist." He took it as me being low, meaning my mood. I was low, I was depressed. And I said, no. I was low blood sugar. And he said, okay. So after school, I had to retake the test. And I passed with flying colors, I think 92%. So I can understand where special accommodations have to be made. I've done a video on this before, but it does need to be constantly talked about. You need to make sure you or your son or daughter has special accommodations. Things like at work, if you have to go to the bathroom, they have to make special accommodations. I would work, again, having a high blood sugar. Imagine me having a high blood sugar? Never. But, we got the blood sugar taken, and I was high. At that point, I was working alone from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would be responsible for cleaning the store, getting it ready for the next day. My people left at 11, and I was there till the manager came in at 7. If I was high blood sugar, I'd be drinking water or whatever, and I would have to use the washroom. Finally, one day I locked the front doors and put a sign up, "Be back in 5 minutes," and I went to the washroom. At first, I got in trouble for that. After that, things were amazing. So, people forget that we come and we have diabetes. And if we go high, we could still work. In fact, things could be even better. But doesn't mean that we can do everything exactly the same as everyone else. If I could tell you, if it was a woman working, they didn't work past 11 when I was working there. For their protection more than anything. We would close the door and they would go. But because I was male with diabetes, I wasn't allowed the same privilege. I had managers who thought I was just using that to get out of work. Or if I had used it during school, they would have just thought, oh, sure, he gets a second try at the test. Now, just because all these accommodations are open to you doesn't mean you have to take them all. In fact, if you're not going to take them all, you really need to be sensitive to others around you. Now, I had one, I called them masters. In my senior years, I went to private school. And they were masters, and we had to stand up when they came in the room. And it was teaching you respect, okay? But I would always have cheese and crackers and something else, because they would always have snacks in my refrigerator in my room that I could take with me. If I felt low in the middle of class, I could pull this out and start eating. The rest of the class knew. But instead of sitting there and saying, oh yes, ooh, can I'm low, can I go back to my room and get something to eat? Or can I go to the nurse, which was way down in the main building from the classroom block, which would mean I would lose time, and nowadays it would be other people, because you should never have someone go to the nurse on their own. Who knows where I could have ended up? Because I'd like to say now, I'm pretty clear. I think pretty clearly. But back then, if you were low, God forbid, you were all through the roof. But so often, we forget that life could be a little bit easier on us. I never knew that it could. So, just because I didn't have them doesn't mean I don't think diabetics should have them. You should be bare minimums. If you're in school, you should be able to have snacks available. You shouldn't have to go to the bathroom to do a shot. You could go to the cloakroom, you could go to the nurse's office to give a shot. You don't need to go to a bathroom, which is less than sterile condition at the best of times. If you're having lows during a test, you should be allowed to retake the test or at least have extra time to complete. If you're low blood sugar and you're not able to treat, you will find in your mind there'll be pressure. And I'm not talking like, oh, I got a headache. I mentioned this, something I used to do was try to make deals with myself. Oh, if I just make it through to 12, I could race and I won't do my urine test. I'll just get to my locker and have lunch. Yeah, worked really well. There were a couple of times I kind of just passed out. And back then, we didn't have fancy equipment. Like this to tell us what our blood sugars were doing. We didn't even know what our blood sugars were doing. We constantly took the information and allowed us to carry on. But we only had urine tests, and they weren't accurate. So You should be able to do blood tests. You should be able to take your insulin. You should be able to take part in after school events or even gym. It shouldn't be, oh, well, you're a diabetic. You're not allowed to do this. Just sit on the wayside. A friend of mine whose son is also a type 1, we went to pick him up and it was like 5 to 3 and we were watching through, the glass at the door, watching. He wanted to see his son, what he was doing, whether he got the old sports gene or not. And he saw him sitting over there until class was over. They went, got ready to go home. And he asked, well, why were you sitting over in the corner? And he said, well, the PE instructor said I had to. And why was that? Were you low? No. But he says it was probably too strenuous. Well, he made an appointment to see that PE instructor. His son should have been ready, in his father's eye, should have been prepared to take part in that PE. And what he was doing was actually harming the relationship that boy had with his diabetes, saying, oh, well, you could sit over there. You're isolating them again. Type 1 diabetes is a very lonely disease, and you need to be aware of this and treat every diabetic with respect. That's all we're asking for. We may not meet all the requirements the same as everyone else, but given extra time, special accommodations, we should be able to succeed. So do we need special accommodations? You bet. Do we have to use them all? No. But you can see when you start your school with your son or your daughter, and if they are diabetic, you can see what special accommodations is open, and then decide which ones will work best for you. With that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.